Do you happen to know Jesse Cutler?
I believe he was once married to Zsa Zsa Gabor, but then again, who wasn't?
He was my parole officer.
Have you heard of Jesse Cutler?
Jesse Cutler, I think he owes me like $50.
Have you heard of Jesse Cutler?
Vaguely.
Now, have you heard of Jesse Cutler?
Jesse who?
We always hear all about the child stars who fall apart after that initial burst of fame. But Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter and musician Jesse Cutler lived to tell the tale. He has penned a bio about his life in the showbiz fast lane during the 60s, 70s, and 80s, a time when drugs, sex, and rock and roll destroyed many lives. I spoke with Jesse about his rise to fame that's documented in his book, StarLust. Jesse Cutler, welcome to Backstage.
Thank you very much.
I read the book. StarLust, The Price of Fame, cover to cover. We're talking about my era. This really is, and a lot of people don't get it. But you know, the 60s, the 70s to the 80s, you've reinvented yourself now. It's an amazing story, yet you're not a household name.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we get into this? Where should we start? People will know the song Day by Day from Godspell.
Yes.
Day by day.
And Rich Man's Son, I remember. I love that song.
That hit the charts.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it all started out at a very young age. I went to Europe, I went to Italy for a cultural experience. I fell in love with my cousin's guitar playing, and all the girls were swooning around him. I was 10 and a half years old in Palermo, Sicily. As soon as I landed back in LaGuardia Airport, the first thing I said to my father is, Daddy, I miss you, but I have one thing to ask you, and I'll never ask you again for the rest of my life for another thing. What is it? I want a guitar.
Day by day.
Here I am walking through the door. I'm 2 years in college, pre-law, and this guy turns around and goes, "Hi, I'm Stephen Schwartz. I wrote this play, and let me play some of the songs." He's playing the songs, and Ricky goes, "Jesse's a really good guitar player. He's a great singer." And I start playing, and Stephen Schwartz says to me, "Do you want to be in the show?" I go, "Well, I'm going to college." He says, "Well, think about it. I think it's going to be a hit." Now, I went on to do 800 shows off and on Broadway. And
you won a Grammy, did you not?
Yeah, the album, and everyone associated. I became co-arranger with Schwartz because at that point, Stephen Schwartz wrote it all on piano, and I took the score, re-recorded it, and then played it back for him. He says, "You're right, that's a guitar song, that's a guitar, that." And I ended up playing all the guitars, electric, acoustic, the same guitar that I begged my father for when I came off the plane from Sicily.
And you made a longtime friend in Paul Schaefer, now the band leader for Letterman, has been for decades.
Paul and I go back to 1970, I believe 1973-ish at the beginning, when he was looking to become involved with something, and I suggested that he become the sub-piano player for Stephen Schwartz.
And all that talent, I think, you know, it has not gone to waste because we have Jesse still with us. He does everything: play, arrange, compose, conduct, act, write. He's an author. He's everything. But I don't think George Barry knew what he had then. We now, the people, we benefit from his love, from his giving, from his talent, from his kindness, and everything that he does. And it's been a pleasure knowing him, and I hope for many, many more years.
Thank you, Paul.
Jesse Cutler's career has spanned 4 decades and includes 29 albums, a stint on Broadway, and behind-the-scenes work on some of the hottest releases of all time. But his entry into the celebrity world took some getting used to.
I watched movies and television. All of a sudden, you're now in this environment where you feel like you know everybody. Like it's a special party where you know these people, and they accept you into that world.
As his career skyrocketed, Jesse learned a lesson that many civilians take for granted.
Once you're known, you can't be unknown.
Somewhere beyond the sea.
Once Bobby Darin's in your mind, you can't take Bobby Darin out of your mind. Everybody thinks they know Bobby, but no one really knows Bobby, and after a while you start to develop a shell around yourself. So that's the doorway, the gateway, the stargate of celebrity, and one has to be really prepared for it.
Welcome to China, first of all.
I'm very excited to be here.
If there is one thing you would like to share with 1.3 billion Chinese audience that are possibly on air to listen to your interview, what is the theme that you would like to share with them about your music? What are the characteristics of your music?
Well, to answer that question, if we're talking about this series of albums, this music was created to inspire, to regenerate, to uplift people, to tune into themselves. Because if you're not tuned into yourself, it's very difficult to be tuned into anyone else or the world. So if you live a chaotic life, everything around you will be chaotic. If you live a life of tranquility, the world around you will be selectively tranquil. And that's pretty much it. What we have on the inside as my music has come out of my body, I think that people will find, especially under their individual signs, that I've touched several different compartments of a personality. It's not just all sad and it's not all happy. It's reflective, it's tranquil, it's motivated, it's melancholy. It has made, everybody has a different assortment of personalities, and hopefully they can try to keep them under control to be as communicative and cooperative with all the people that they find in life that love them and that assist them in having a good journey while on this planet Earth. I think the early exposure to that celebrity life, that fast lane, so to speak, I think it built for me a kind of familiarity with people that I appreciate. All show people I have found in general are extremely sensitive and a little insecure. Well, who wouldn't be insecure if everybody recognized you walking down the street? But I felt that through 3 decades, almost 4 decades of being around these people, I love them, I appreciate them, and you have to understand, anybody who does motion pictures or television or in the business, in production, or makes records and goes on tours, they're giving a lot of themselves. They're not just getting up and jumping on the bus, going to work and coming home. They're literally flying all over the universe to give of themselves, whether they're singing or speaking or performing or acting. This is a lot of energy that goes out of a person throughout their life, and I felt very comfortable around them. And I think that as life goes by, I love television. I think that I'm one that really appreciates the sensitivities and the givingness and the generosity of these artists.